What's up, guys, and welcome back to another OOTP20 episode with me, Archer Gaming, and our Arizona Diamondbacks series. So we are right in the middle of a playoff race, which I promised that I would bring you. Just a couple of small things that have changed since you were last with us. DeMarcus Evans has called up to the team. He's only thrown 2/3 of an inning, but he's been effective in it. So again, don't know exactly what we're going to get from him down the stretch, but I think it's going to be pretty great. And even if we don't, next year he's going to be amazing. So still feel pretty good about that trade. Yusei Kikuchi has not been exactly who we thought he was going to be when we brought him over, but he's not been bad. And I think if we are able to get into the playoffs, I think that he could play a key role in allowing us to maybe go a little bit deeper than people might expect. So all that said, here is our schedule. It is the 1st of September, so we're just going to play through day by day, and we'll check in with how we're doing on the standings. So first day versus Los Angeles. I'm looking up in this top right-hand corner to see if we win or not. So we lost to LA, which sucks, and that actually puts us out of the playoffs. Fantastic. Lose again to San Diego, but we only stay a half a game back. But look at how tight this is. I mean, Colorado's a half game back, we're a half game back, and New York is just about hanging on. Zach Godley on the mound versus San Diego. Really need to beat 2 out of 3 out of these San Diego. So we win one, 10-3, and now we're back into a playoff spot. Won another one. Cincinnati, again, puts us a half game out of the playoffs. Then we're a half game into the playoffs with a win. Oh man, if we lose out the season, oh, I'm going to be so disappointed. Okay, we won again, Cincinnati again, but New York stays right with us. And we just lost to them. Fantastic. This is the most crucial series of anything because we can get games directly back or lose them directly to the Mets. Come on, guys. Another loss. Gotta win the last two. We win one of the last two. Can we do both? Oh, we lose again. I don't care about DSL players retiring. Come on. Okay, Cincinnati, here we go. Really need to pick things up, and we lose again. Oh, it's so painful. We lose again. Now we're 2.5 games back with not many to go, just about 12. Lose again to Cincinnati, and now we're going to be pushing right up against elimination pretty much. Miami series, we win one from Miami. Again, I don't care about players from the minor leagues retiring. Okay, that's huge. Now we're within 2.5 games of the Mets. Okay, we won again, but we lost Yoshihisa Hirano, which I actually think is going to be okay. Do I have anyone that can replace him on the... Yeah, just for now. We'll call up Kriebel. Okay, San Diego. Okay, win one at San Diego. I think if we can sweep the series, we have a chance. That's 2 out of 3. Come on. Oh, it makes me so nervous when it saves. Oh, we lost. So we're 2.5 out now. Okay. So we have St. Louis and then another series with San Diego. I think we probably have to win 6 out of these next 7 to get in. That's a good start, but we're still 2.5 games out. And then a loss. Oh, man. I think we're just barely going to miss out. Yeah, another loss. That puts us 3.5 games back, and we've just been eliminated. Oh, that's so painful. Oh man, yeah, our acquisitions just really. I mean, DeMarcus Evans was fantastic, but Yusei Kikuchi just let us down. Our whole rotation really just kind of regressed to the mean after the trade deadline. Our offense was still fantastic, but we knew that the pitching was the problem, and we just couldn't quite get it. Oh, that's disappointing. All right. Well, I'm gonna sim ahead until we figure out who the World Series champion is, and then we'll figure out where the rest of this episode is going. Wow, so cool little tidbit before we move on any further. Chris Sale won the Triple Crown, and also Christian Yelich won the Triple Crown. So a hitting and pitching Triple Crown in the same season, which is really remarkable. My baseball history knowledge is not that great, so I don't know if that's ever happened, but it feels pretty rare at least. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and finish out the season, but I thought that was really cool. All right, guys. So this is the way the playoffs shook out. Boston Red Sox, your eventual champions. The Mets did make it all the way to the World Series, so I feel a little bit less bad about losing out on a playoff spot to them. Also, the Dodgers, who won our division, almost made it to a World Series. So I think we were, in some fairly good standing as far as teams who just missed out on the playoffs go. But I do think we need to improve a lot. And because I feel a little bit cheated by missing out on the playoffs, I'm going to do the first half of the offseason in this video. So we're going to go right up till around winter meetings start. We'll maybe make some trades, and then we'll formulate a plan for free agency. And then we'll leave that there, and then we'll continue that in the next video. But hopefully those two videos will come out pretty close to one another. We'll see how it goes. First things first, though, I did notice this, which is that there is a posted player who's a little bit interesting, Yuki Matsui, who's a reliever, very good reliever, who might be coming over from Japan. Not sure if it's somebody for our team, but just something that I thought was kind of interesting, and also something that's kind of likely to happen in real life as well. And I don't think there were any players posted from Korea. Yeah, no, there weren't. So I'm going to take us to right here when the most valuable player award is announced. Then we'll get into salary arbitration and maybe some trades, free agency plans, and then that'll be the end of this episode. So first things first, most valuable player. So a couple of things before that gets taken care of, actually, just because I think this is an interesting decision. Usually I wouldn't show this, but Wilmer Flores has a team option for $6 million. I'm going to accept it, but here's why. I'm planning on trading him, actually, because he put up a decent OPS, pretty good for a first baseman. He has a tiny bit of versatility, and he hit 28 home runs, but I think that first basemen are pretty easy to find, honestly. And so I think he might be able to give us a little bit of that surplus value that we can turn into future value and turn us into a contender for hopefully years to come. So anyway, thought that was an interesting thing. Also, we have some more season goals. So these are from our owner. He wants us to achieve a winning record. I think that's doable. Improve defensive efficiency. We'll see. Improve team attendance. That's not super important to me. And then reach the playoffs in the next 4 seasons, which is ridiculously generous. I think I could do that next season. I almost did it this season. So I think that should be pretty easy. So anyway, now we'll go on to most valuable player. All right, the MVP has been announced, so let's go through these. I just kind of like looking around at the awards to just get a sense of how this baseball world is playing out. I won't go through everything by name, but if you want to pause the video and look at any one specific thing, go ahead, feel free. These are your Golden Glove in the AL. These are in the NL. Nothing shocking there. Maybe Chris Taylor is a bit of a surprise. Then we have the AL Reliever Award, which goes to Sean Armstrong. That's kind of interesting. There are your runners-up. Sean Doolittle wins it in the NL, which, I guess that's fair enough. There's an argument to be made for Yohan Lopez, but I mean, Sean Doolittle did just have a ridiculous season, so I can understand that. Here are the Silver Sluggers for the American League. Nobody surprising there. And for the NL, nothing surprising, but also nobody from our team. Okay, so Kyle Tucker won the AL Rookie of the Year. Very interesting. Vladimir Guerrero didn't win it, despite having a very good season. I guess maybe just not enough of a very good season. And then in the NL, Victor Robles wins it. I think that that's certainly possible in real life. AL Manager of the Year, Alex Cora. NL Manager of the Year, Brian Snitker. And then Chris Sale wins the Cy Young. Not surprising since he won the Triple Crown. If you ever win the Triple Crown and don't win the major award for what you do, I think something is maybe a little bit wrong. And then Noah Syndergaard wins it in the NL, which is not surprising considering the year he had, leading the league in ERA, innings pitched, strikeouts, home runs per 9, and WAR, which is just ridiculous. So that's the first of what could be many in his career. We'll see. JD Martinez won the American League MVP. Wow. I mean, 54 home runs will do that, I guess. And then, of course, Christian Yelich, who we already know won the Triple Crown, wins the MVP. And that is all very impressive. So that brings us to our next thing, which is salary arbitration. We have a couple of free agents who I'm not particularly keen on signing. Alex Avila, Jared Dyson, and Greg Holland. I'd consider Jared Dyson, but he's 35 and he wants to be a starter, and he's not a starter, so I don't think that I'll be re-signing him. And I don't think I'll be offering any of these guys the qualifying offer. I would think about Greg Holland, but again, I think we can get younger and cheaper and maybe even better, so I'm not going to do that. Adam Jones is somebody that I never really utilized, but he was also just probably not good enough, and so I don't think at age 34 he's going to be better and worthy of signing. Andresi I'm going to let go. Zach Godley, kind of an interesting case for us because on the one hand, he was okay. Like, he was a pretty good, like, fourth starter, but he also wasn't very good. So the question is, can we improve upon a 3.83 ERA? I'm not sure that we can. Also, did he deserve a 3.83 ERA based on how he pitched, which is what I'm now thinking, which is that no, he kind of didn't. He more deserved like a 4.5 ERA. So that's pretty questionable, but he is only going to be earning 3.8. Robbie Ray is similarly interesting because, again, a 3.77, pretty good, lots of strikeouts. Did he deserve that based on the way he pitched? Yeah, I think he probably just about did. Yeah, 3.1 or 3.41 FIP. Again, that's all pretty good. And at 28, I think we have to keep him, even if it is for almost $9 million a year. So I think Godley and Ray, probably good bets to keep. Then we have some guys that underperformed, like Archie Bradley, who I think is worth keeping on for another season. I just think he was a bit unlucky. I think he'll be better in the future. And I think that he's a valuable piece of our bullpen. So 2.2, I think, is actually a bargain. Andrew Chaffin, on the other hand, though, I don't think he's quite as good. And I think that the walks are going to kill him. I mean, you just can't walk 6 guys per 9. I mean, you can't walk 5, to be honest with you. So even if you are an extreme ground baller, I just think we're going to have so many valuable pieces in relief. I mean, Archie Bradley is one of them, but if we look, we also have Yohan Lopez and Kriebel and DeMarcus Evans and just guys coming up like Sherfy, and there's also guys in the minor leagues like Jared Miller. So I just don't think we can really argue that Chaffin is somebody that we want to keep on. He's maybe somebody I could look to trade, but I think ultimately I'll just non-tender him. Jake Lamb. Jake Lamb. Where do I begin with Jake Lamb? Not a good season from him, really. I mean, yeah, just not great defensively. Should probably be a better hitter than he was, but I don't know. I just feel like we can do better at 29, and especially for 5 million and a half. Part of me does believe that we could get somebody who's a bit of an improvement. Now that said, I don't know what his batting average on balls in play is. It was about normal. So maybe this is just what he is. I think that's what I have to assume, is that this is just the type of hitter he is. Maybe with a little bit more power, but not much. So again, somebody to trade, but if need be, probably eventually non-tendered. David Peralta, worth every penny, no matter what. So 11.5, no problem. Steven Souza Jr., I also think pretty dang good. He's not fantastic in any one area, but I think he's just good enough that it doesn't really matter sum total. And he's pretty good in right field. He is a little bit older, but I think trading him now would be a season too early. And 10 million, I don't think is that expensive for a player that puts up an almost 900 OPS. So there's a pretty big gap between a guy like Souza and Lamb, which is almost reflected, but I honestly think it's bigger than like 5 million bucks. So that's where I am with those. I might try to trade Jade Lamb, might try to trade Andrew Chaffin as well. Maybe we'll package them to someone. All good. So I'm going to try to do that before salary arbitration hearings, and then I will be back either when we get to salary arbitration or when I've traded somebody. All right, so I found a trade for Jake Lamb. Bit of a questionable one, but again, I think it's sort of value for money, and I mean, it's a guy named Luis Gonzalez getting traded to the Diamondbacks. Do I need to explain myself that much more? No, but in all seriousness, he looks really great here. OSA doesn't love him as much, and clearly neither do Chicago. If he turns out like this, he'll be pretty good, but not amazing. If he turns out like this, obviously he'll be very, very good. And this is also a bit of future proofing in mind, which is that, one of Souza Jr. or Peralta is probably either going to get injured or, they're just going to see their skills deteriorate as they go into their 30s. So even though Luis Gonzalez is already 24, I think that he's good insurance, even if he has to turn out to be the player that OSA projects him to be, which would not be an amazing player, but would still be a really solid outfielder. So solid, but with upside for Luis Gonzalez in return for Jake Lamb, who's probably solid, but never going to be spectacular. So the Chicago White Sox make this move in an effort to be respectable a little bit more, especially because they have a power deficit and their prospects are all coming up, so they're going to want to supplement them. And we get to get rid of some surplus value in exchange for Luis Gonzalez, who hopefully will help us for years to come. So that's the trade. There we go. It's been completed, and now we move on to try and trade Chaffin if we can. Wow, okay, I didn't think this would happen. So, this is a trade proposal that I sent to St. Louis with the expectation they would reject it, and then we would sort of rework things to get it a little bit closer. But I was kind of having trouble finding value for Andrew Chaffin, but at the end of the day, I was kind of thinking to myself, I'm going to cut this guy anyway, so I'm turning what would essentially be, to me, nothing into something. And with that in mind, I went after Ramon Urias, who admittedly doesn't look spectacular here. OSA thinks that he's a bit better, but he can play a capable second base. He can fill in at shortstop, maybe in a pinch. He probably can play some third base. So he's just kind of an all-around okay guy. But then I added in Fernando Brazoban, who is admittedly like 17, so he's not helping us anytime soon, but has some really nice tools, a possible really good hit tool, maybe the potential for some power, and overall just looks kind of nice. So for that, I think I'm actually getting really fair value. So I'm going to go ahead and complete that trade. And there we go. I get a lottery ticket and hopefully a reliable backup infielder for a while to come. So I think that that's all really positive. We're going to go to salary arbitration and figure out what everyone is making so we have our books in order, and then we can start figuring out what our free agency plans are. All right, salary arbitration is finished. You can take a look at all the values over here on the left side of your screen. If you want, pause it here because I am going to move on and take a look at my finances. So under salaries, what we now have is David Peralta making 12 and a bit. That's correct. Okay, so we have 116 million committed to payroll. Most of that, well, not most of it, but a lot of that going to Zach Greinke, which is, I don't think, particularly ideal. But, I mean, you know, I think he'll still be fine for us, so that's kind of an aside. Mainly what this means is that we do have a little bit of room under our budget to hopefully be able to add maybe like 1 or 2 players. So we'll have maybe like 20 million to spend, something around there. So I think that can get us maybe 1 really good player or 2 kind of solid players. I think we're pretty much set as far as rotation and the bullpen goes. I think we're totally good there. So I'm going to be focusing a little bit on the offense side, or if we can get a pitching player that pushes one of these guys out and is really, really good, that's what we'll be looking for mainly. Because again, what I was meaning to say is that like we have all these holes filled, so we could go into the season as it stands with all this. Like we don't need a backup player anywhere or somebody to come in and fill a bench role. We're good there, but we could use some high-level players. And I think the same is more or less true about how things are here, although Jared Dyson is going to leave. Marte in center is not the perfect fit, but you know what? He's okay. I would like to replace him with a better defensive player, but we'll see. Sousa Jr. is great. Peralta's great. Eduardo Escobar, I think, works. Wilmer Flores, still haven't traded him, thinking about it. But also shows how easily he can be replaced is that Christian Walker just slides right in. So maybe we're looking for a third baseman. And I need to put really quickly Ramon Urias onto the correct thing. If I can figure out how to play the game for a second. There we go. Sorry about that. So Ramon Urias as well will come in, and he'll play that sort of infield depth role, which as it stands would kind of fill everything out for us. Marte would move back to shortstop, which again, there's not really a position on the diamond that he's amazingly well suited to other than center field. So I think I'm going to plop him into center field. Escobar can play third. That'd be great. Probably need a better second baseman, which I think actually Urias would be a better second baseman. And then Flores or Walker, it doesn't really matter. And then Cron is behind. So yeah, maybe an infielder and then great pitching if we can get it. So let's go to free agency filings and let's see what's out there. And here we are. So all of the international free agents have filed, and get ready for some name butchering. So let's see if this guy's any good. He's not, so I don't have to pronounce his name. This guy's fine, but he's not very good, so I don't have to pronounce his name. Juan Resendez is not very good. Juan Ramos is very good. He wants about $7 million a year, which is probably too much for us since we're not really looking for bullpen help, but he's very good. Some contending team is going to get him and have a ball. Ushinte, not great. Not great. And you're not great. You're okay, but you're not amazing. So yeah, nobody in the international market that we're probably going to be going after. which means we'll just be looking straight into the heart of the regular free agent market. Some of these contract demands, by the way, are absolutely insane. JD Martinez supposedly wants $46 million over 7 years. Yeah, good luck with that, buddy. So once again, we're going to go into pitching ratings. We're going to sort by... actually, I'm going to build a filter so that I can get stamina and then 3 pitches, and we'll see how that goes. All right, so here are our pitching options with that sort of filter applied. It's not amazing, to be honest with you. Obviously, Garrett Cole is the guy that everybody should want on the market, but he's going to cost, I think, $32 million a year, and I just cannot be throwing around that kind of cash, especially not with a $30+ million pitcher already on the books for us. But there are some guys with some standout skills other than like a Justin Verlander, one of them being Chihiro Kaneko, which I hope is close. He's coming over from Japan, and he didn't strike out a ton over in Japan, but he also didn't walk a lot, which is pretty dang good. And having a whip of 1.12 is really good coming from the Japanese league. Now, do I think that he's going to be amazing? I don't know, but he looks pretty solid. He's got that standout control, which is the main thing I'm interested in. And then he's, I think, good enough in the other areas, but he has such a deep arsenal that I think maybe he'll surprise us and strike out a couple more players than we're expecting. Now, granted, the big caveat with all this is that he's 36 years old, so he'd only be with us for a year. But I think he's an option that I'm going to be considering. A similar-ish guy, but a little bit younger, is Alex Wood, who's obviously going to want a lot more money. But he had a very successful year last year between Cincinnati, and he was traded to the Angels. Was a bit lucky, I think, pretty obviously, but I'm not expecting him to put up a 2.3 ERA. I'm expecting like a 3.6 like he did in his last season with the Dodgers. So he's another option. He would be more expensive, but he also is only 28, so we'd have him for a couple more years. He would age around the same time as like the Yusei Kikuchis of our core, which might be really nice actually. So Alex Wood, Chihiro Kaneko. There's nobody else that really stands out to me all that much other than as like depth pieces. And when we're talking about pitching, we're not really looking for depth. We're looking for like a standout guy to really help improve our rotation. And the only other guy that I can think about is Colin McHugh, who was really bad last year, so he may not want a ton of money, but I think he's actually very good. And just who knows with him, but he's sort of that bottom tier option. So if we're thinking about this in tiers, it would be McHugh at the bottom, and then Kaneko in the middle, and then our top tier option is Alex Wood. So I think something along those lines is a plan for there. All right, and then the other thing that I think that we could be looking into is a legit shortstop, somebody who can really play the position, not somebody we're just going to stuff in there. So guys like Didi Gregorius obviously is going to be too expensive for us, but that's kind of along the lines that I'm thinking. Maybe somebody like Jose Iglesias is somebody who we would look into. He's very much on the defensive side of things, but he may be able to put up like a 700 OPS, and that's maybe acceptable for us if we want to help our defense out a little bit. Somebody that's really interesting to me, though, is Addison Russell, who can still play a good shortstop, is kind of average across the board, had a really, really bad year, 2 years, honestly, in Chicago. But I think that there's maybe something here that is missing, and so he might be somebody that we look into. But anyway, that's the other main thing I would consider is like a legit shortstop, even somebody like a Freddie Galvis, just somebody who can really play the position and is going to hit just enough to stay either in or around the starting lineup. So that's our free agency plan. Next episode, we're going to get around to executing it. For now, I'm going to leave you right here. Sorry we didn't make the playoffs. I know I was disappointed. But that's just the way things go. Next year, we're really going to make a push, and I think we could challenge for the division and definitely make the playoffs. And once you're in the playoffs, who knows? Ask the Marlins. Anything can happen once you're in. But that's going to be it for this episode. I'll see you guys on the next one. Hit the like button, not for me, for the algorithms, and I will see you guys on the next episode.